Hey everyone, it's Justine and welcome to a new video, the third one in my April collaboration. Today I am collaborating with Alex from Hedgehog Hollow, and be sure to check out at the end of this video her channel and video as we explore ways to embellish with the Nuvo line. Her channel is absolutely chocked full of information. She comes out with videos, I believe, daily, and they're phenomenal quality, so be sure if you haven't subscribed to her already to head over there. Okay, so my video for Nuvo, I'm focusing on Nuvo drops here, and I'm making sure these are flowing all perfectly for you here. I'm going to show you some of the different types of Nuvo drops. So the first one I laid on the paper there is jewel drops. They are transparent, have a transparent look to them with a tinge of color. Then there is the crystal drops, which I'm showing right now, that have an opacity to them. Some of them have a sheen that is opaque, and some of them have a little bit more of a metallic look to them. But overall, they're the same. They function all in the same way. Then there's these vintage drops that are in such an adorable little bottle. Now these squeeze out the same way, but these have a matte effect on them rather than having the shiny effect that the crystal drops have, for example. Then there are the brand new Dream drops, and these ones here are the latest addition to the Nuvo drop range. And what they do is they have an iridescent rainbow finish to them, and when you spread them over black cardstock, these look amazing. There are also glow-in-the-dark Nuvo drops, and stone drops are also coming out soon from the Nuvo line that are really, really cool. But I don't have any of those yet. They have more of a rustic look and have a stone-like finish to them, which again just really brings out so many different options for you. Now you can of course go ahead and add as much as you want to your cards. You can squeeze out as much as you like, and the bigger they are, the more of a statement they're going to make, but just remember that they need more time to dry. I would say the drying time on these is about a half an hour for the little ones that I did, but if you want them to really maintain that rounded look, then I would suggest leaving them overnight to fully harden. Sometimes when they're dry, I've put other cards on top and stacked them, and then the drops turn out to be flat, which may be a look that you want, but it's not the look that I like to go for. So I'm going to talk about later as well towards the end of the video how to get them unclogged if they happen to go unclogged, and then some tips and tricks to prevent that from happening. So I'm adding some of the vintage drops to show you here, and this is my first technique, is when your card seems like it's missing something, you need to add a little something, but you don't want to take away from your focal point. These Nuvo drops are really fantastic for adding into small spaces, and with their wide variety of colors that are available, there are really endless possibilities, and you can find something to match with no problem. There are seriously tons of colors available. I mean, with the crystal drops alone, there are 44 colors in the line, so there's definitely a ton there, and they have an excellent price point. They're not too expensive at all. These vintage drops here have 8 different colors, and the ones that I used were the Earl Grey and the Dusty Rose, and then I added some of the gold, the bright gold, to the card. I also recommend adding them in odd numbers in your cards, and I like to make little triangular clusters. I think these are the most appealing to the eye. So here's a final look at this card. Now all of the cards that I created for this video have already been made in previous videos, so I'll be linking to those in the video description below, as well as in the little eye information part at the top of the screen. The second way I like to use it is to bring out another color. So sometimes when I'm doing this, I really want a certain color to pop. So this pink with the alcohol lift technique is so stunning. However, I did want to bring out a little bit more of the bright white because that really makes that pink shine. So that pink alcohol inked background on top of the white is already such a great contrast. And then you have that brought out in the sentiment. So I thought, why not add a little bit more of the glossy white drops to this card? If you're on a limited budget and can only buy a few colors, the glossy white is definitely one of the ones that I would recommend. It's probably the one I would recommend first, even if you could only get one. And then I would follow up with some of the standard colors like a bright gold, silver lining, and you can build from there because white, gold, silver, black are the ones that are really just going to go with the majority of colors. Another way I like to use it is to fill in small areas. I made this card here with a chipboard shape, and that's the focal point on this card. However, I thought it would be kind of fun to go in and add some of the crystal drops here in Caribbean Ocean, which is another one of my favorite colors. And I thought I would fill in some of the chipboard areas here just to add a little bit of color and bring out that stamped background that I had behind the cluster here. This card, although being very clean and simple, has a lot of mixed media techniques to it, and I really love the way that it turned out. You can use tweezers to kind of prod the crystal drops along there if it's getting a little bit difficult to put them into the corners of those small areas. The other color that I used to decorate this card was Ivory Seashell, which is more like a pearl look, and I went and added some of those Caribbean Ocean Nuvo drops to the background as well. This has a lot going on now and it's a little bit different than what I had intended with the card. Another thing that you can do is you can create a background just full of these dots. It's completely up to you how you want to place them, but I think they look absolutely stunning in a random pattern. The color that I'm using in this one is brand new. It's from the new Dream in Color line. And this one here is called Pink Orchid, and it has this beautiful metallic finish to it that I really love. I also wanted to pull some colors from the background that I used so that they were incorporated in the drops as well. So I went ahead again, I added this glossy white, and then I added some English mustard, which is one of my favorite yellow colors because it's kind of a cross between a yellow and an orange. And I really think that that turned out really well in incorporating the yellow in the top with that ombre orange look. So here's a final look at that card. Sorry, my camera was a little dark there. And the next idea is to embellish a stamped image. So you have your pretty images. This one here is a layering butterfly stamp from Catherine Pooler that I absolutely love. And I added a little bit of embossing powder to make it glittery on the top. But I went in as well and I added these to the wings of the butterfly. I think they make them look really pretty. This one here that I'm using is called Wedgewood Blue. It's a metallic blue finish. I'm going to also do the other ends of the cards. This one here is Carnation Pink rather. And this last one here is apple green, another one of my favorite, very subtle green colors that's almost a cross between a spring and a lime green. And I just went and kind of added almost like a curve along the wings, and I think that looks really, really pretty when it's all said and done. So here's a final look at that card before moving into our next technique, and that is to fill in empty spaces. This is a card that I created in a video on Sunday, and this had all of these squares kind of here, but I thought it looked a little bit too white, the background, so I thought I would try some of the black and add those in here and there randomly. So you can fill in empty spaces by adding Nuvo drops where you please. Another really fun thing that you can do with black Nuvo drops is you can create googly eyes with them. Now what I would suggest when you're doing this is to put down the white and let it dry, or at least semi-dry before you do it. For time purposes though, I am just simply going to add the black in over top. So once you add your little white embellishments, you can make them as big as you like depending on the size you want the eyeballs to be. You can just simply squeeze some black in the middle, and once they harden, you'll have these really cool drops. Now, when you're doing these, if you're not doing them directly on your card, you want to be adding the white on top of a glue dot or some sort of form of adhesive that you can then go ahead and remove, because once again, these Nuvo drops will stick automatically when applied to paper, but if you apply them on a piece of vellum or acetate and let them dry overnight, or you want to make them in advance, then you need to have adhesive underneath. Glow in the dark, because why not? I love to make these things for kids' birthday cards and things like that, I went and pulled out this card that I did for a collaboration with Simon Hurley last month, and I thought it would be really fun to use these glow-in-the-dark Nuvo drops. Now they don't dry clear, they do dry in this neon color, but when you go ahead and put them in the dark, they're super fun. You can see me kind of holding them up in the dark here, and you can see the stars sort of shining and the drops glowing. Now, this isn't necessarily a technique what I wanted to show you, but I didn't get a chance to show off the jewel drops. And the jewel drops are actually some of my favorites. I'm going to link to a video below where I use the jewel drops in an actual video to make it a little bit more of an organic appearance. But I wanted to show you for this card here, which is one of my favorite baby cards. I tend to use this quite often. And I added these to the card, and you'll see just how soft and pretty these pastels are and how perfect they are for things like baby cards or something soft with florals. Thank you so much for watching this video on how to use Nuvo drops to embellish your cards. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget that I have links in the description to Alex's video, so go check out her take on embellishing with Nuvo. Also, I have links for all of the cards that you saw, and as well as here you can click to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.